As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
All right, we are live for our pregame show. Detroit Lions, Dallas Cowboys rematch.
Here we go.
Much anticipated rematch of last year after that BS call that pissed a lot of Lions fans off. But we are here. We have our watch party, a postgame show. Jeff Iafrate, Booner, Lukas Klotz, got Michael Gentry in here. How you guys feeling today? How ready are you? Not only win the Lions to win, but to make some money too. Because on the watch party, we're gonna have some bets.
You know what? You want me to be honest with you?
You be honest with me.
I really don't care about making money today. I just want to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'm out of the money. I have bets for the people to make money because that's all I do is make money. But I really don't care about it because today the only thing that matters is a revenge game, is beating the Dallas Cowboys. Last year was unbelievable. The last time they played the Cowboys, unbelievable. The last 6 times. We haven't beat the Cowboys in so long. You finally are favored to beat the Cowboys on the road. Mm-hmm. 6 straight times, 6 straight losses versus the Cowboys. I'm pumped up. And last week or 2 weeks ago, you slayed the Seattle Seahawks thing. Now you get another chance to slay another team that you can't beat and you haven't beat, and we get to do it again. I'm pumped up. Booner Pat goes through Dallas, huh?
In Jerry's world, Boone, the Rico Dowdle show will not be showing today. It has unfortunately been moved to tomorrow's programming. There's no way that they get the run game going. I think, boys, and I know it's early, we're going to do our score predictions later, but this could get ugly for the Dallas Cowboys. I think just matchup-wise, momentum-wise, like it's cute. Like it was a good story. Dallas went into Pittsburgh. Now that is a tough environment to play in, Boone. We're not going to discredit that.
Yeah.
They snuck one out. The Jalen Tolbert coming out party was it, but it's over. It's over. They're going to lose yet another home game in Dallas, and I can't wait to watch because I think after last season, Boone, that Taylor Decker extra point or 2-point conversion callback, it's just blasphemous. It's blasphemous. The Lions are coming, Boone.
I'm going to say this, Klotzy. I'm going to be quite frank with you. The Pittsburgh Steelers should have beat the Dallas Cowboys by 1,000,000 points last week. The Dallas Cowboys are trash. They're not good. They're missing a bunch of their key players. They don't know what they're doing. The only thing they have is Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb. That's it. Even their head coach is a bum, Mike McCarthy. He's the biggest bum I've ever seen. You know what would be great? You know what would be awesome? Sorry, I'm juiced right now. All of a sudden, something just hit me and got juiced. You know what would be awesome? If the Lions get another head coach fired, that would be sick. They did it last year. Who did they get fired last year? Who was it? Does anyone remember? I don't remember. I'm actually asking. This is not. This isn't a trivia.
I'm brain working right now. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Well, give me 5. Who
they get fired? I know it. I'm not even looking at the chat.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know.
Was anybody in the North?
I mean, it would be. It wouldn't be surprising.
It was. What's his
Smith?
name over in Las Vegas? That bum.
Oh, Josh McDaniels.
Josh McDaniels. Yeah, it was the bum
Josh
in Vegas.
McDaniels.
Mike McCarthy might be fired tomorrow. We might wake up on Monday and there's Mike McCarthy fired. He's going to lose so bad. They're going to be so embarrassed. Jerry Jones, he's going to be like, why'd you in Jerry world? Embarrassed. I can't wait.
I think, listen, this game, I mean, you guys mentioned it. The Cowboys, the offseason they had, it was underwhelming, even though Jerry insisted they were going to go all in.
All in.
They don't have a run game. All right. Lions, that favors the Lions because even if they did, the Lions have stopped essentially every running back they've faced. Kenneth Walker had some success last week, but that's more of an anomaly. Still haven't given up a 100-yard rusher since 2 years ago against the Panthers. So they're in a good position here. It's a big game, obviously 4:00 game, but it's on the road. Lions tend to play well on the road, and it's after a bye, which Dan Campbell in his career 1-1-1 after a bye week. This is going to be
a perfect 500.
Yeah, but bye weeks, I like to look at bye weeks. They test coaching staff's ability to prepare. Right, they have a whole bye week. Dan Campbell mentioned it last week. The coaches are going to go self-evaluate. No offense. No, not trying to be cute on offense. This defense, hopefully the secondary, you get to start gelling a little bit. Kirby Joseph, I think, will be playing it. We'll see when it gets confirmed. I'm assuming he will. This is a good opportunity for the Lions to kind of, hey, Vikings are winning. Bears just won today. Go and get a win today.
I'm not going to
can't afford to drop to 3-2.
We don't want to keep this path of it. People say this all the time. The must win. It's not a must win, but it is a one of those games where you're expected to win. Like it's an expectation to win today's game. That's how I look at this game. Where it's like if you do lose it, you're like, what? That's a game you should win this game. They're so beat up. Like the Steelers are away. I'm not gonna say way. They are. We're a Super Bowl contender. The Steelers are just they're a playoff team. We are a Super Bowl contender. The Steelers aren't even a Super Bowl contender, and they were expected last week to go out and beat the Dallas Cowboys with the injuries. Today, like the 3.5-point favorites, the Lions should be 6.5-point favorites versus the Cowboys. They should be able to go out there and win by a touchdown today. I love them by 3.5. I'm getting ahead of myself. So we've got bets later in the show. I won't do that, but I love the Detroit Lions today versus the Cowboys. And I think the biggest thing too, the fact that Ben Johnson finally got this offense going, that going into the bye, you finally got a good feel of what this offense is about. I don't care who was out on the Seattle Seahawks. You still went out there and dominated. You played your game. Typically, the first 3 weeks, he went away from what was working and trying to do things and trying these. He didn't do that versus Seattle. He was locked in. He had his game plan, and he stuck to it. He has that today with D-Mott and with Jahmyr Gibbs, and then finding the rock to J-Mo, Sam, and Amon-Ra. You will win this game by 1,000,000. Like this, if this offense plays like it did versus Seattle, the Dallas Cowboys have zero chance of stopping them. Zero.
Because it's one of those games where even if, like, I expect CeeDee Lamb to go out there and get 100 yards, but there's really no threat at that secondary wide receiver spot, or even Jake Ferguson. Like, I don't see Jake Ferguson having a huge day, even if CeeDee Lamb does. And if the Lions go out there and dominate, which we don't, maybe some of us don't expect to dominate, but at least win. All of us expect them to win. And then you look around the NFL, like the Packers right now are leading the Cardinals in the red zone, about to score again. The Vikings obviously on a bye, but they're 5-0. And then we all saw what Chicago did to Jacksonville. Like that's not like they just won. Like they dominated. Rookie quarterback overseas. So the NFC North right now is arguably, and it's not even close right now, the best division in football. So to drop a game in Dallas right now would be huge, because then the Lions and Bears are walking out both with 2 losses, and you got the Minnesota Vikings coming up next week off a bye. So it's going to be a huge matchup, but this is one where the Detroit Lions, like you said, Booner, it's not a must win, but this would be a huge win going forward that they need to keep this momentum going.
Yeah, I have the inactives. So let's put this on screen
Already
here. You guys can look. Let me make sure you can see every player. So inactive list, you have Lawrence Strickland, James Houston inactive, rightfully so, given how he played last week or last game rather. Giovanni Manu, Colby Sorsdahl, Isaiah Williams. So again, no one significant. With all due respect to those players. But
breaking news.
No one significant.
Not breaking news. It came out yesterday, but seeing that James Houston is inactive, you guys saw Isaac Ukwu got pulled up.
Yes.
So Isaac Ukwu, he gets pulled up, and now the thing with that, they trust Isaac Ukwu over James Houston. That's very clear. Like now they've seen him in practice. They've seen what he's been able to do. Now they look at it and they go, all right, we're rolling with Isaac Ukwu. That was my guy all preseason. I said Isaac Ukwu should make the team over James Houston. James Houston, he struggled. He didn't look great. He was always hurt. And a guy like Isaac Ukwu, who went out there and had strip sacks, he had a sack almost every single game in the preseason. He did everything he could to beat out James Houston. And I think they just were like, oh, what James did for us in the past, we need to still not reward it, but we need to give him a chance,
right?
A shot. We got to give him something here to be able to see if he still has that. And in like the first 4 weeks, it's like, yeah, he doesn't have that. And now James Houston, obviously inactive. I don't think he's not hurt. He was not on the injury list all week long.
No, he's just bad.
So it is a healthy scratch. Isaac Ukwu gets pulled up yesterday and he gets activated, and he's not on that list, which means Isaac Ukwu will be playing today. And that means they trust him and they think he's going to be better than James Houston today. Like,
I think
big time.
I think with all due respect, a lot of different players could have been better. I think Matty Betts probably would have been better than James
Say that
Houston.
again. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
The guy
cut out here.
He played how many snaps James Houston had? Well, how many penalties?
2.
Like, it's actually.
What did you say before that, though?
Matty Betts could have been better than James Houston.
Yeah. I came a long way.
But that's not a compliment. That's saying he actually did that least amount.
I lost a lot of pizza on that comment there.
No, but see, it's not a compliment.
Yeah, but
James
it's not saying much about Matthew Betts.
Yeah, Matty Betts could have done more if he would have just not gotten penalties.
I'm excited though.
That's how bad James Houston was. But Isaac Ukwu, it's interesting.
I wonder if he's going to be in more for special teams reasons, because I don't like when you look at it. I mean, this would be a perfect situation, Boone, to your point, because Dak's can be dropping back 45 plus times. Honestly, if Geno Smith threw 50 plus times with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet, there's no way that I could not see Dak Prescott throwing 50 plus times. Like unless they're just not on the field for enough opportunities, because Geno Smith, the Seattle Seahawks, they won the time of possession, didn't they?
Yeah, by like 15 minutes.
So that could be the difference in scenarios. But if the offense is continuously out there, I could easily see Dak throw for 50+ times.
So his highest games this year, 51 versus Baltimore in a loss. He threw 51 times. Second, 42 versus Pittsburgh last week, which is crazy because of the rain out there. He threw 39 times versus New Orleans in a loss, threw 32 times versus the Browns, and threw 27 times versus the Giants. So like you would think, if you look at the teams that they've played, like Baltimore 51 to Pittsburgh 42, the best teams that they've played, New Orleans 39. So he's going to have to be like, well, think about it. 2 weeks ago, James Houston, when he was active and he had those penalties, he was out there in that package. What is it, the NASCAR package, where they just want to get some guys that are quick out there. Isaac will get those snaps, I believe. Like I think like if Josh Pascal needs to come out, because he's probably going to be on the edge today. Levi O at times, but when you need someone quick off the edge on the other side, that's now Isaac Ukwu today. Like there's no, I'm with you, Klotz. I think special teams wise, he's going to get a lot of reps and a lot of run, and that's probably the big reason. But I do think like he's, let's say, 10 snaps defensively. I think that's like fair. 10 snaps defensively.
Get a couple pressures.
On third down, like third and long.
Hate it.
Throw him out there. I think he'll do good, dude. Remember his preseason?
Yeah, now he's playing against first stringers.
But still, he showed a lot.
So it's going to be a test for him. I'm like I said, he's if he can just not get penalties and get one pressure, he's better than James Houston.
Yep.
I mean, that's where he's at. So the floor, the floor is pretty low. What we expect. What I would be happy with seeing out of Isaac Ukwu. So we'll see about it. I see some people talking about the importance of this game. I know you said it's not necessarily a must win. I actually disagree, and because I think there are some must wins in the season, depending on what happens in your division, depending on what happens in your conference. I think given how the Bears have looked over the last couple of weeks, given how the Packers are starting to look now, and given how the Vikings do look, you cannot drop this game. This is not a game where you can just be like, if they lose, well, they fought hard. No, if they lose, it's a huge deal, because they get undefeated Minnesota next week.
Yeah, so
the road.
All right, I one up you with that. I agree with you. I'm with you. I understand your thinking.
Must win this week.
I've learned this in sales. You have to agree to do. I completely hear where you're coming from. I understand what you're saying.
No,
a must win, Jeff.
Like a therapist.
A must win is next week versus the Minnesota Vikings, because if you lose that game, they're 6-0, and you're sitting there 2 or 3 games now back. Like you just lost that, and the tiebreaker is now up in hand. Like this week, it's if you lose, all right. What are you sitting at? 3 and what were we at?
3 and 2 last in your division.
Okay, but you're 3 and 2. Okay, you're 3 and 2. But then next week, if you go lose to the Vikings, you're 3 and 3. That's like next week, your divisional game to where if you lose, they're 6-0. That is a must-win type of game for the division. This is a game to where it's like, okay, if you somehow drop this game, knock on wood, I don't think they will. I think they're going to dominate and win by 2 scores. But if you somehow drop this game today, you're not like, oh my gosh, we're so far out of the division.
Yeah.
Like, no,
you know what you're forgetting?
Go next week and you go say, next week's a must win. You go beat the Vikings. You're only 1 game out of the division, and you get to see the Vikings again. So you're still in the thing, like a must win, like down the stretch late in the season. If you're like about to miss the playoffs or lose a division, those are must win. That's why I don't like throwing must win around, because you could come up with the scenario every week.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't. And this week it's a must win.
You got to be on my side here, Klotzy.
You can't throw around must win every single week.
If you throw it out today, that's what that is.
Yeah, because I'm backing it up with something.
But no, what you backed it up with?
In the division,
you basically told me next week's
it's
the
an NFC opponent. And let's not forget, the Vikings are undefeated. I get the game next week, you could say, is a must win. But if you lose this week and beat the Vikings, yeah, you get the tiebreaker, which is fair. But then you move to what? You're 4-2. You'd rather be 5-1.
So you're telling me next week's not a must win versus the Vikings, a 5-0 Vikings team, first in the division.
If
you're trying to win the division, next week is a must win.
I think it matters to beat an NFC opponent as well. It's not like you're
NFC North that's 5-0. It matters that much more than a 3-2 Dallas team.
I don't want to debate that this game's more important than Minnesota. That's not the debate. I'm saying this game is important. Like, you have to win this game. This early in the season, you cannot fall to what? It would be 3-2. You're almost 500. And the Bears are 3-2.
And I love this comment from Venom. He said, again, you want to have momentum heading into next week's game. That's where I think you can have the argument to where it's like, yeah, you want to stay in the division race always. You want to be 4-1 going into next week, and you want that momentum. I just think we're only in week 6. If you drop a game versus Dallas, which they're not going to.
You're with the Bears now. Congrats.
They're one game out.
You're 3-2 with the Bears.
The Bears are okay. They're 4-2.
That sounds like.
But it's not like you're out of the race though.
You're not. I never
all
said
you
that.
have to do is
You're
go
with
in
the
next
Bears.
week and beat the Vikings, and you're right there again. Like it's not a must win. Is like next week. If you're 4-1 and the Vikings are 5-0, that's literally an NFC North championship type of game. Like that's a must win.
Not
you
even
have to win that.
disagreeing
But
with the
you can't
importance of
have
next
like
week's
every
game.
week we're like, hey, must win.
Never said every week.
No,
You're not
but
listening.
I just
this week.
That's what it feels like.
This week,
This
I
week.
understand you fall to the Bears, but the Bears are also a 4-2 football team. If the Green Bay Packers win this week, they're a 4-2 football team. So I think when you look at it, it's just the toughest division in football. You wouldn't be in that same situation if they're in any other difference.
Yep.
So now the fact, okay, they're in that division. If the Lions fall to 3-2, even if knock on wood they fall to 3-3, they still have a lot of games to make up. And I think
you guys are coping.
No, I just think
3-3, you're fine.
You're not fine, but you're looking at a situation where the Lions out of a playoff race, absolutely not. The Minnesota Vikings, we all said, are going to cool off. The Chicago Bears and Detroit Lions are different tiers of teams. Who's going to be able to get better throughout the season and stay at a high level? The Detroit Lions. The only team that I think you got to worry about consistently as far as late in the season being on the same tier of talent is the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers right now, if you drop this game in Dallas, you're sitting in the same spot. And I don't think I'm locking down a guaranteed win if you lose this week at Dallas, but look at how the Detroit Lions respond to a loss. Most of the time after they lose, they go to wherever it is and they win. So right now, it's a huge game. Like it really is. But is it a must win? No. I think the Detroit Lions, Jared Goff, this offense, they're going to be able to help out this defense in situationally to be, without a doubt, a 12, 11, 13-win team within that range, regardless of how this game goes.
So must win. You agree it's a very important game.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think I said that from the jump. Though. I did say it from the jump. I said this is a big
you
time.
Just fought hard for next week. Come on.
Klotz.
Hey,
what did I say?
You two.
No, time out.
No, he's looking for
third party. Third party. What did I say? I said it's not must win, but this is a big
Boone
game.
did say it is.
Can't afford to lose game. Like you just don't want to lose this
that's
game.
where you need to figure out your vocabulary. Can't afford to lose. Like you can
guys,
lose
if
this
you're
game.
okay with being with the Bears, so be it. I think they're a better. They're a better team than the Bears. Win this game.
Time out. I got to go back and get clips from like week 2 when we were sitting there and he was like, week 2's must win. And I'm like, what are we doing? We're week 2, man.
I did not say that.
We've had this conversation before.
And I love when someone's losing, they tend to exaggerate.
See,
so when I say something and you say, he says every week's a must win, you're exaggerating.
I
You're
love
losing.
it. No, when someone has to say when someone's losing, they probably already lost.
I'm third party here.
That was cringy. But the point I'm making is this, okay? This game is important. The Dallas Cowboys, you do not want to lose.
I love that, Jeff.
You have to win this game. You do not want to lose to the Dallas. If you guys are just okay with losing,
they cannot lose
this game. You cannot lose this game.
You are fighting for your life right now. No one's saying that they're going to lose and we're okay with them losing. It's must win. It happens 3 times a year, dude. We're this is a very important game, and it's an NFC opponent to where potential tiebreakers are in place. You still want to keep up. You're in literally the best division in football that we've probably seen in a long time in the NFL.
Do we all still believe this is a number 1 seed team?
Yes.
Must win.
But
thank you.
No, that means every week's must win if you want the.
Okay.
All right.
You have to win.
He doesn't. Will never.
Everyone's okay with the Lions falling to 500.
Time out. You're making it sound like we're all okay with them losing. No one's okay with that.
Time out.
If they go to 3-3,
no one is okay with that. But the situation, if they do to fall in 3-3, the sky is falling. The Detroit, no.
You're 3-2, and then you can go play the number 1 team in your division next week and beat them to go 4-2, hold a potential tiebreaker if they end up dropping another game, and you're right back in the race for the number 1 seed.
If you lose it, my point is, and we'll move on because I know we're just arguing over nothing at this point. But my point is, if you lose this game, you fall to 3-2.
Yes, that's not that bad. You're in the best division of football.
Now next week, it's like, you have to win this game or we're 500.
No matter what,
I would rather be 4-1 facing a 5-0 team.
That's
why it's important to win this game.
That's what I'm going to say to you. No matter what, whether you lose today or win today, next week is the most important game on your schedule to date, and it is must win because you're playing a 5-0 team in the NFC North I believe it's on the road again.
Yep.
And you're on the road. No matter what, their argument of being like, well, if you lose, is no. Lose or win, next week's game is the biggest game in the NFL because you're going to
arguing the Cowboys game is more important than the Vikings.
But that's what I'm saying. That's where we're going to where next week's the must win. This week is like, all right, if somehow, which I again think they're going to win by 2 scores, if they go in tonight and somehow drop a game, you're not sitting there saying the sky's falling. Now, if you were 2-3 or you were 2-1, and then you're like 2-2. Like, no, you're going to go to 3-2. You still have a whole season ahead of you. You know what Dan Campbell's like off a loss. That man does not lose after a loss. Then you go into the Minnesota next week and you go 4-2, and you're right back in the driver's seat. That's the must win. And it's the same thing. If you win tonight, you're 4-1. The Vikings are 5-0, and you're playing for the first overall seed right now in the NFC North.
No, they are right now.
I know
that's why
what
every
I'm saying.
game's important.
Yes, every game, no matter what, when you're a Super Bowl contender fighting for a 1 seed, all 17 games are important. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Then we agree.
But when you're talking about must win, like, you can drop game. Like, you're not going to go 17-0. There's going to be games you drop. This is one of those games to where, is the Minnesota game next week must win, or is this week? Yeah. It is not this week. It's next week. This week is big time. And they're going to win by 1 million tonight. So Jeff just got us going in this whole direction.
We all agree. This my whole point. You guys agree with. They have to win this game because they should win this game. They're favored. Everyone's picking them. Like, I'm not okay with them losing this game. Like, they should not lose. And if they lose, I will be pissed off. We'll have a pretty tough show tomorrow. I'm not gonna be like, it's all right, boys. They're 3-2. I'm gonna be fired up tomorrow.
And when you turn on like bigger media like ESPN, Fox, that's all you're going to see.
Yeah,
it's going to be tough.
But hey, we're not going to.
No.
Dak, multiple turnovers. They won't be able to get the run game going defensively. They're just a wounded dog out there, and then they got the best run game coming into Dallas. Jerry's world's going to be burning by the end of the night.
This might be the most confident I've been in any game this season. So
love that. Yeah, as you should be. They're better than the Cowboys. They're a better team. They're better coached. Even on the road, last year was bogus, and this team has the underlying factor of that the motivation of like, hey, we got to get this back.
Yep.
All right, last week they dropped it. How do you see this game going, boys, on both sides of the ball? In your mind, we'll save our score predictions till later in the show, but just how we'll start. I mean, at least defensively for me, I think this team defensively is going to be the biggest test because you're looking at two things. One, the secondary, for obvious reasons. CeeDee Lamb is a hell of a player. Jake Ferguson, you brought him up, very good player. This secondary is going to be tested again. Terran Arnold after a bye week. Can he start, cutting off the PIs and just, hey, I don't know if he played with mittens on or whatever the case may be in practice, but can we just limit the penalties, please? You know how these refs are in Dallas anyway, and there's going to be times where he's matched up with CeeDee Lamb or matched up with who's the other receiver they got? Tolbert. He's not a bad player either. He had a pretty big game last week. So for Terran, it's just being disciplined. I think Carlton Davis is going to have the tough matchup here with CeeDee Lamb. So the secondary, Kirby should be playing today. Taking the ball away is going to be so important today. And then the pass rush for obvious reasons. I mean, Dak's going to drop back 40, 45 times. Yeah. Aiden Hutchinson, you got to have a defensive player of the game, year type of game. And he had 3 sacks last year against the Cowboys. Big game. So
huge game.
Good matchup for him. I like this matchup.
I'm interested in the defense, like the defensive side of the ball. I think it starts, Klotz, I remember a couple of days ago I had mentioned the CeeDee Lamb, like CeeDee is going to go off. And I don't think that's anything bad to say. It's just we haven't figured out. Yeah, and then it's the AG defense where I think for at least me, it's like maybe we should just start getting used to it as much as we might hate it. Because we see teams around the league stop big-time wide receivers, and they win games. Like you see the best defenses in the NFL do it. It's like, why can't we do it? So I don't know where that comes from. But for me, it's just like, all right, let's just get a pass rush. Like, let's make Dak Prescott's life terrible today. Make him overthink throws. Make him turn the ball over. Make him not want to play football in the second half. Like, we want to put Dak Prescott in an absolute, what's the term?
A blender
today.
Make
and
him
I think
see
it
ghosts
starts
out there.
Yes, and I think it starts with Hutch. I think it starts with Aleem. I think it starts with Levi O, Josh Pascal, DJ Reader, Isaac Uku coming in. Want to throw a name out there? Are you ready for this name? Trevor Nowaski out there in the Sam spot. Everyone out there needs to go get great Trevor, the great Trevor Nowaski from Saginaw Valley State University. Shout out and alum.
Shout out.
But like those are the guys. Like even Anzo's going to be. I bet you blitzing. I bet you we're going to see Rodrigo. Rodrigo had a sack 2 weeks ago. Brian Branch. All these guys. Amik Robertson's going to have opportunities. Right. All these guys are going to have opportunities. You have to find a way to get to Dak and make his life terrible. Put him in a blender, like you said, Klotzy. Now the question for me is, at what point do the corners, and I feel like I'm going at them, but that's the problem on the defense is you're giving up. And maybe that's because the pass rush isn't getting home, but they are getting there and they're making it tough. And it's like I go back to the Stafford game. Stafford's getting the ball out in a second. The pass rush can't do anything about that. They're doing their job. How are we getting beat on the corners like that so much? Klotz, you were a corner for a while. Like at what point do we say, boys got to be better? We've got to be better. Get the flags out of the way and start locking up.
They do, but going into it, like you knew the corners were going to be the weaknesses, and you look at the wide receiver duos that they've played so far. This is the game where CeeDee Lamb is going to get his 90 to 100 yards, but then I look at Jalen Tolbert, like he better be held under 40 because Terrion, I think that's a favorable matchup. Terrion's a better player than Jalen Tolbert is at the respective positions. I don't care if he's a corner, and he's built to play against a guy who's built like Jalen Tolbert. When you look at Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they don't let the number one guys get big plays. So like CeeDee Lamb, he's going to have his 90 catches, but it's probably going to be on 90 yards, but it's probably going to be on 6 to 7 catches.
Yep.
So when you look at that, how do you limit the big plays? Because a lot of times they'll get home, but then we saw Baker Mayfield, Geno Smith, even Matthew Stafford, when they would get to him, they break out of the sack, and they even if it's 2 seconds, they slide to the left, dump it down to Tyler Johnson. He breaks 3 tackles. Now he's off for a 50-yard gain. They have to find a way, whether it's the way that AG schemes it to manipulate blitzes, they have to actually get the quarterback down instead of getting all these hurries, because some of these hurries are turning into completions. And if you can limit it, even if it's 2, that's 2 more sacks a game. And I think that's what's huge. I think secondary right now, the talent is there. It's just I think AG has to manipulate a couple of things, and the defensive line has to get home after he does that. But outside of Aiden Hutchinson, somebody's got to step up and get to the quarterback because Carlton Davis is a very fine corner. He's not a true cornerback 1, but he's a guy that can limit a number 1 wide receiver. Terrion Arnold, a very good young rookie corner, and you have one of the best safety duos back there as well. So this secondary is very good. It's just a matter of time till they click, and I think there's a good chance that it could be today because this is by far the least talented wide receiver trio that they've went up against so far.
I mean, even this comment here, Wheezy D, the Purple Prince, he says, you guys always talk like you want us to hold CeeDee Lamb to 15 yards. Those guys get paid too, and it's an offensive league. I honestly think this defense is doing fine. The defense is fine, but to me, that might be enough to get you far, but I don't think you can get to a Super Bowl and win it if your defense is fine. I think you need them to be good.
Like,
it's not elite and historically.
Can I just say this real quick? I just want to. Chris Godwin, 117 yards. Cooper Kupp, 110. DK, 104. Tyler Johnson, 79. Marvin Harrison, 64. Michael Wilson, 64. Tyler Lockett, 61. JSN, 51. Mike Evans, 42. Like, yeah, the 40s and the 50s are good. You have every single week you've gone up against a team, they've given you 100. So it's not like we want to hold them to 15. It's how do you limit their best players? Like, that's what it is.
It's like, can you get under 100?
Go look at like
80.
Like,
but it's
70.
one of those things where, and I think this is what makes the Lions unique, is the Lions are so good offensively at running the ball that a lot of time that's what the game is scripted. If they're doing that through the air,
good, yeah, that's good for you.
They have 70 to 80 rushing yards out of the running back. That's when it's like, okay, this could be an issue. But if you look at, for instance, when the Cincinnati Bengals made it to the Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, they couldn't run the ball. So they couldn't keep Patrick Mahomes and that offense off the field. The Detroit Lions offense can keep any offense off the field. And even if they do, you saw it in the Seattle game, they have the firepower to match whatever. So what you're asking your defense to do is play like when you're going up against LeBron. This is a basketball reference, but when you have one guy can just light it up, you can't let the others do that. I think that's what the receiving game is. As long as you limit the run game offensively for the other team and you don't give up big plays, that offensive line, that run game, the Detroit Lions offense is going to take care of you. As long as, in my opinion, your secondary is top 20 and you're still a top 5 rush defense, this team can win a Super Bowl. It's not going to be the most prettiest thing. There's going to be games where it gets too close. But I just think with how this culture is built and how with these players play, there's very good chance that even if you have a top 16, like I said, 20 secondary, you can go out there and win a Super Bowl.
Hey,
it's got to be average as long as they keep stopping the run the way that they do.
Klotzy.
Boom.
Very well said.
Appreciate that, Boom.
Yeah, I'm and I don't know. I get it, guys. I'm not expecting. I don't want this defense to be like, 85 Bears historically, right?
No.
But I don't think you can win a Super Bowl with just fine. I just don't. Unless it's just a lot of pressure on this offense, in my opinion. Like mistake-free throughout the entirety of the playoffs, which is not realistic. You know what I mean? But like last year, the 49ers and Chiefs were there. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me those defenses aren't fine. Like those are good defense, good to great defense.
Those were good to great defense.
Even though they have Mahomes and Kyle Shanahan and Brock, like you need a defense.
I know
to win it.
Exactly. But how you saw, like, even against the 49ers, the Lions defense improved, like, through that offseason. The Lions were able to keep the 49ers off the field, and you can play mistake-free ball. Like, Jahmyr Gibbs, if he doesn't have that fumble, it's a very different situation. I think when you look at this offense, they are going to get better. I think you don't have that Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. I don't think you have those Josh Reynolds catches. I get what you're saying as far as sustainability, but if there is a team who can sustain that, it is the Lions just because of how they run the ball. Like, either of those defenses, they're not stopping the Detroit Lions run game.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So I think
that
it doesn't like the Detroit Lions are going into San Francisco and they're going to win. Oh, they're going to be in the Super Bowl and they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. But it definitely gives them a chance compared to the other teams that are in the playoffs.
Here's a comment too, real quick, because I think there's a difference And shout out Young Keys for tuning in. He said bend but don't break defense. That's where I kind of get lost a little bit because we had that conversation last year throughout the whole pregame season. Is where when we had that bend don't break, our pregame shows last year where we were at before, we kept bringing that up, and you kept saying eventually it's going to hurt you. Eventually it's going to hurt you. And you saw, you went on the playoff run. When you get to San Francisco, it hurt you. Like the bend don't break, it broke. And it hurts you. You have to find a way, like you see like the Chiefs defense, the Ravens too, when they're at their best, the 49ers at their best. These defenses, when they're at their best, they're not bend, don't break. They're all gas, no breaks. Like we're going to dominate you for 4 quarters. There might be a couple times we bend and don't break, but we're going to dominate you. We're going to get turnovers. We're going to 3 and out multiple times. We're going to do this. That's the flip, I think, with this AG defense is you do need to see is like, that was like in Seattle. Like, great defense don't have those laps that you had for Seattle.
Yeah, that's
where like the first 3 weeks were great. Like, yes, there are times, but you're still giving up a lot of yards and your bend don't break. But then you see it versus a team like Seattle to where if your offense wasn't clicking because it wasn't the first 3 weeks, you probably lose the Seattle game because of that. That probably happens. So that's where, for me at least, eventually you have to figure that out if you want to win a Super Bowl at the end of the day.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now, no one's saying the defense is bad. It's just something to bring up. Eventually, when you get to a point where, your offense is going to make mistakes, they're going to have a Jahmyr Gibbs fumble. They're human. That's going to happen. Mistakes. Jared throws an interception. You hope that when it comes down to it in the postseason, you're facing a San Francisco or I'm just using them as an example, but some good team. Hell, even if you get to the Super Bowl and you're facing a Chiefs team, that this defense can just get multiple stops. That's the thing. Not asking to shut down, eliminate players from the game. It's hard to do that, especially in today's NFL. Like, I understand that, but it's something to watch. I think today is a big opportunity for the secondary to kind of build on what they've done. Again, you're not going to shut CeeDee Lamb down, but like, let's just hold him. Let's start by holding him under 100. Can we do that?
He hasn't broke 100 yet. I mean, we talked about the teams that they played. I mean, the New York Giants secondary is not better than the Detroit Lions. So it would be a little disappointing if he does, but at the end of the day, like, it goes back to that game script thing where it's like, we can hope for it, but at the end of the day, CeeDee Lamb is probably going to get 100 yards, but the Detroit Lions are still going to win by 20 most likely. Maybe not 20, but you get what I'm saying. They're going to win by a good amount, at least when you actually look at the game. Maybe the box score will say differently, but it's one of those things where until they go out at the trade deadline, they get another legit pass rusher on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. Until you see differently, these wide receiver ones or the other wide receiver two that could be a wide receiver one somewhere else, they're going to keep doing their thing. As long as they stop running the ball or are able to keep stopping the ball from being ran on them, they'll be all right.
By the way, I see this comment, and this is the problem. And even though I love this human being, you got to listen. Like the Bertwell Prince, Jeff just said the Super Bowl, can we get multiple stops on the Chiefs? So you're basically asking for the best defense in the NFL. No, I'm asking for, almost a dead last secondary. Can we just improve there? Let's just start there.
Dude,
that's all I'm asking. And no, I just said, and I even said before I said the statement, I'm not asking for a historically great defense. I'm just asking for improvement consistently. Can we just improve? Where do they rank right now? In total defense, the Lions. They're 22nd in the league. Can we get to top 15? Can we do that? That's all I'm asking for. I'm not saying number one defense in the league, but can we not be 22 in total defense?
All right, we talked about this on the show the other day. You have points per game. You're 10th. All right, that's good. But then you start going rushing defense. You're 4th. That's great.
It's always been great.
Third down defense. You're 7th in the NFL. So you're getting off the field on third downs. Love to see that. But then you look at the other ones. Total defense when it comes to yards. You're giving up 350 yards a game. That's 22nd in the NFL.
Yes.
You want to win a Super Bowl, you need to be in the top 15. Passing defense, you're 27th in the NFL, giving up 260 passing yards a game. That's not good. I don't care if there's an anomaly of a game. You should not be 27th out of 32 teams in the NFL in any category if you want to go win a Super Bowl. And it's the same thing, red zone efficiency. You're 20th in the NFL. You're not getting stops in the red zone. So for all those people who said, bend, don't break, guess what? You're 20th in the NFL in breaking. Like that's
and breaking.
That's not good. So there are things like for the people who want to defend the Detroit Lions defense, there are really good parts of it. You're top 10 in points per game.
Yeah, you're just asking for them to improve.
You need to improve. Like we want to be a Super Bowl contending team. There was a reason why you didn't beat the 49ers last year. It's because down the stretch, there were the drop with Josh Reynolds. There was the Gibbs fumble. But guess what? Your defense still blew a 17-point lead, and they gave up those points to the 49ers. And that can happen again this year if you don't lock it in. And they went and addressed some pieces on the defense, but now you address those pieces. The pieces were supposed to be the secondary, right? You're still 27th in the NFL in passing defense. You have to get that up. And if you're going to sit there and argue with us about that, guess what? You're just wrong. Like, you will never admit if there's something wrong on this team. I'm the Booner Pat guy. I'm the slappy of the most slappies. But guess what? I want to win a Super Bowl, and I'm going to call it out. There is.
What did you say the biggest thing you expected this year for the Super Bowl win? You said this defense has to be up
top
there.
15 defense. If you have a top 5 offense and a top 15 defense, you are a contender. You have an opportunity to go win a Super Bowl.
Exactly.
And if you have a top 10 defense and a top 5 offense, you are going to be one of those top 3 contenders. And that's where they have to get to. That defense needs to get figured out. Like, you have to.
Right.
You have to figure it out. So it's not like it's a bad thing. And in the Purple Prince, this is where people like you can't take any criticism. You can't ever in your life. And I love your Purple Prince. My guess is anytime maybe, and it happens to me. I used to be like this all the time. Anytime, ask the fellas. Anytime I get criticized, sometimes you're like, oh, so what?
Yeah,
That's what that is, Purple Prince. Is there is like one little thing wrong with the defense, and say, hey, we just gave you the stats. They're 27th in the NFL in pass defense. That's a fact. Like, that is a fact.
Well,
you have no argument with that. And for us to call that out and you just say AG should be fired, you shouldn't be able to talk about the Detroit Lions. All your credibility out the door.
Not Purple Prince.
Credibility is gone when you start doing that.
If
you're not gatekeeping, but if you're going to sit there and look at something that's 27th out of 32 and be like, oh, so you're saying no, we're just pointing out a simple fact.
Purple Prince also says, well, these players aren't going to get better this year. The only thing that can change is the scheme. So,
I mean, guys can get better. Like Carlton Davis was in a different scheme last year. So now he's in a whole new defense with a new DC and everything. So that is going to improve. And the same thing with Terrion Arnold, TA, is he's a rookie. So he has to improve.
Yeah.
Like, he only get better.
Has to, yeah.
So, like, saying that none of them are going to get better, he can literally only get better.
Yeah, he should. Now let's get our score predictions, and then we'll get into Booner's bets in a little bit here. So, at least for me, I said this on Friday, fellas. I think this is going to be a game where the Lions crack 30 offensively. I think they win this game 30-21. Dak Prescott interception to Terrion Arnold. I think Terrion Arnold gets a pick today. I said it on Friday because they're gonna pick on him, and they're gonna try to pick on him given the pass interference calls and him being a little too handsy. I think they're going to target him, and he's going to have an opportunity to take the ball away. So, hot take, whatever you want to call it. Terrion Arnold gets an interception today in Jerry's world. Now, another thing, offensively, I think Sam Laporta finds the pay dirt. I think he finds pay dirt today.
Pay dirt.
Yep.
First time of the season.
It's a bet I do like. I already locked it in. He was plus 210 with the boost. I think he gets up to plus 270 on most betting, any sports books you got. So I like Sam Laporta to score offensively. I like Terrion Arnold to get a pick defensively. And I have the Lions winning this thing 30-21, leaving Dallas with a W, winning by 9 points. That's how I see it going.
When you got it, you want me to go next?
Go ahead, do your score prediction.
Same thing. I'm sticking with my prediction from Friday if you tuned in. I think offensively, Dallas finds a way, especially something that we haven't talked about enough throughout the week is Dallas special teams is what keeps their offense in the game because they're constantly getting set up in good field position. I think that Dallas, with Brandon Aubrey, they find a way to get over the 50 a couple of times, but they're not able to punch it in. I think when you look at Dallas, how their personnel is in the red zone, they're going to have very little success. Booner, we just talked about with you, how you're saying how the red zone defense needs to step up for the Detroit Lions. I think this is a game where they do that. So I think Dallas offensively is only going to have 1 touchdown. I think they get 19 points. So Brandon Aubrey, do that math. He gets 4 field goals, 1 touchdown, and the Lions double what they do. 38 for the Lions. Dallas Cowboys 19. Lions win by 20 in Jerry's world. Not 20, 19.
All right, my score prediction here. They dominate this team. They're going to hold them under 21 points. And with that being said as well, I think this Lions offense gets going. I think it's a 2-possession game, fellas. I've been looking for a bet for it. Jeff, who'd you say Terrion Arnold for an interception? Yeah. I disagree completely.
Vehemently.
I'm going, and I've given out 3 interception props this year.
And they've all fucking hit.
I'm 3 for 3. I cannot find, so I don't know if this is going to count or not because I cannot find him on here. Every other player on this team, on the Detroit Lions that's in the secondary is on the betting market besides one player.
Who's that?
Brian Branch.
Oh, love it.
Brian Branch today. I think he picks Dak Prescott off. I'm going for 4 for 4 on the
Wendy's.
The next 40 minutes, if Brian Branch pops up, I will take it. You guys should take it too. But I'm going to go this score prediction. You ready?
Yep.
Detroit Lions 34, Dallas Cowboys 20, 34-20. I think it's a 14-point win. I've been saying a 2-possession win. I think they go up there 34-20, dominate in Jerry's world. It's not a game.
So
I think they dominate.
I like it. I mean, I do.
All 2 possessions, right?
Yeah, except 9. So yeah, you technically that. I see people. Shift God, he just said. I want to put his comment up. Shout out to Shift God. He said, Monty O will be the reason we destroy them. Monty Owarie will be out there today.
I forgot. He had a pick, I think, last week.
He's going to be on who? J-Mo, I would assume.
Or no, hey, you know what?
No, because they got.
Oh, this is what they're going to do. They're going to put Amani on Tim Patrick, and Tim Patrick's going to have his first touchdown of the season at the goal line in Jerry's.
Because they have Deron Bland potentially back today.
Deron Bland
he's going to be on a snap
out.
count.
So Monty.
The reason I don't know if it's announced.
Throw that bitch up.
I saw someone tweet out yesterday. The reason Amani Owarie got moved up is because Deron Bland will not be making his season debut today. I don't know if the Dallas Cowboys, we can check on their Twitter and see if they released it. But that was the tweet yesterday that I saw, was the reason that Amani Owarie is playing is because Deron Bland will not be.
Okay, that makes sense.
I can go look here. They probably have to release it at some point, right?
Yeah, Amani Owarie is going to get. He's going to get that work. I mean, I don't know who's guarding, but that's barbecue chicken. And I actually used to like Amani Owarie as a line. I did. I fell for it.
That was a flash in a bottle for sure. That pick against Kyler Murray.
I liked him
when tickets were like $25 to go to the game.
Yeah.
Look at him now. What do you think? I wonder how much they are just in Jerry's world in general. Like, it's probably a ridiculous amount. But if this game was in Detroit right now, like, tickets would probably be at least like at 200 plus.
Oh, easily. Yeah, easily. I know the doc's out there, John Macaroon.
Boots on the ground.
He's got boots on the ground. So check his coverage out. And we'll be live for the watch party as well. Booner, I know you've been cooking a little bit in terms of, I already gave out a bet I like a lot. Sam Laporta, anytime touchdown scorer. They're disrespecting him. Hasn't scored all year. I think he scores today. That's all I got. No more. I'll leave the rest up to you.
I'll go with one.
What do you think, Lucas?
I have one bet that I saw. It's plus 700, which is ridiculous. It's for Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Both have 25 rushing yards in each half. So like, it's a lot.
I like that. Honestly, I might just tail that with you.
Ridiculous.
That seems like it's just nearly. I mean, Jahmyr can get that on one carry.
All right.
That's ridiculous.
I love that. Klotz, you send that over. I'll play with you. You know, I'll do it, brother. I'm with you on that. All right. I've got bets. I've got single props. I've got parlay, and I've got the legacy player. Well, I'll wait for the legacy player. First bet I have today. I have 2 single props for David Montgomery. Number 1, I think everyone should take this prop today. I think they're going to run the ball down the Dallas Cowboys' throats with no Micah. The whole defense is beat up. David Montgomery over 50.5 rushing yards. Over 50.5. He is going to get it. I don't know why it's so low. I don't know what they're thinking. It's like right there with Gibbs. Gibbs is 57. I think D-Mont probably gets more rushing. Total yards is a different story, but D-Mont gets over 58.5 rushing. Also, another D-Mont prop that I have, it's plus 110 right now. D-Mont over 14.5 total carries. I gave it out earlier in the week. I'm sticking with that for my game day bets. Over 14.5 carries. He's hit that twice this year. A game like today does feel like D-Mont should be going out there and getting a lot of carries. To control the clock and go out there and win that football game. A couple other single ones. Actually, I'm going to do this, Jeff. I'm adding one on the spot. Are you ready? I love your Sam Laporta bet. I think the tight end is going to have a big game today. Over 41.5. I think Sam Laporta, that seems so low. Give me Sam Laporta over 41.5. By the way, this is all brought to you and sponsored by Real American Beer. Let me crack this baby open here. Oh, yeah. Oh,
I mean, look at these. I mean, we just picked up another case today. So, you know, we're fired up.
Love Real American Beer. Shout out to them. Next one. Ready, boys? Oh, what? Go ahead.
It's going to cheers you.
Oh, you just did them.
No, it's too little.
No, we need it. Good vibes for the bets. Come on. Good. One of the people like, what is it? ASMR?
Yeah. Nobody would ask for it.
Another pick. I gave this one out earlier this week, too. So if you listened earlier, you have a couple sneak peeks of some of my picks. JMO over 21.5 yards for his longest reception.
Ooh.
If Amani Owarie is on Jameson Williams, this man's going to have a 60-yard catch for a touchdown today. I'm going over 21.5 yards.
Barbecue chicken.
Yep, easily. He's easily going to get that today. I don't know why that's there. It's minus 110. It's a great bet. And then the last single bet that I have, fellas, I should give out a touchdown, should I? I am giving out a touchdown with my legacy player. Wait for that. Last one. Alex Anzalone.
Enzo.
Over 7.5 total
Oh,
tackles.
I like that.
He's been a guy to where we've seen him get 15, we've seen him get 6, we've seen him get 5, we've seen him. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out there. Don't know if those are right, but we've seen him go up
Sounds
and
right.
down. Versus the Dallas Cowboys, I feel like Anzo's like, I'm showing up today. I'm showing up. In Jerry's world, it's one of those places, 4 o'clock. It's one of those places where it's like, hey, I'm going to play good football today. Alex
I'm gonna
Anzalone
play
is playing good football
today.
today. Over 7.5, basically even money. Good odds there you can get. Those are my single bets. So if you guys didn't hear them, rewind a little bit after I give out my parlay and my legacy player. Legacy player, by the way, won last week again.
I think you've only missed probably
Once-
over the
one
last.
time.
I'd say over the last 17 games, Booner, you've probably missed.
Last year I was 14-3.
Yeah, so
This
you
year
missed
I'm
4
3-1.
times. You
Yeah.
missed 4 times
over the last like 20.
So he's 13-4. He's the number 1 seed in the NFC.
Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable.
That's
Might
what
be
he
in
is.
Well, no, more than
league.
13-4. I'm 17-4.
Okay, we'll take that.
17-4 over the last
You're
2
number
seasons.
1 in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, no
That
one's
was
stopping
like
that.
quarterback.
17-4 legacy player can't stop that. Let's do Booner's lay of the day though. Booner's lay of the day. It's plus 684, guys. It is 6 legs. I'll tell you guys this. I think I might have hit one parlay this year when it comes to the Lions. Everything's been off. Everything's been off.
Something. Yeah, the offense has been weird though.
It's going to eventually hit, but when it hits, that means we're going to be right back on track. We're going to be in positive money. If you're playing the Booner's legacy player of the day, you're still already making money. Let's do this, though. 6 legs. First leg, David Montgomery touchdown.
Love it.
D-Mont touchdown.
Love it. Hold
I think
on.
I saw a stat, guys. I could be wrong, but I think I saw a stat that said D-Mont is about to have an opportunity either this week or next week to break a record for most touchdowns in consecutive games. I don't know if that's true. If someone in the chat wants to correct me on that.
I will say I don't know, Boone, because I know Kyron Williams leads it right now. He's had a touchdown in like 12 or 13 straight
Okay,
Well,
so
Montgomery's
I'm wrong.
coming for it.
Maybe it was in the Detroit Lions uniform.
Maybe,
It might have been
maybe.
in the Detroit Lions uniform. It might have been like a Barry record. But D-Mont, I saw something, and I'm like, he's going to get one this week. So D-Mont touchdown. Second one, David Montgomery alternate line, just 50 plus rushing yards.
That's insane.
50 plus rushing yards.
That would be like basically 11 carries for him.
It's easy.
And he's going to get over that.
Yeah.
Yes. Third leg, Jahmyr Gibbs. I had this one on there a couple weeks ago. Over 60, just 60 plus all-purpose yards. 60 plus all-purpose yards. I love that. Next one, JMO. I think JMO has a nice game today. 3 out of the 4 games he's hit this line. JMO, 25 plus more yards. That's it. Just need 25 out of JMO. Next one, I know people might hate this, but if you've listened to our show throughout the week, we know that the Lions give up yards to wide receivers.
Yeah.
And in my mind, the Lions are going to be up 2 scores all game long. That means Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are going to have to be playing catch up the whole time. CeeDee Lamb in this parlay to get 70 or more yards. I think that's just like, hey, if we're going
I
to be
think
honest
that's right
here,
where he's going to get.
yeah, if we're going to be honest here, trust circle with the people that watch our show, Lions fans, trust circle. He's probably going to get 70. So I did CeeDee Lamb 70. The final leg, the most confident leg, the best leg, Detroit Lions money line, fellas. I love that.
I love it.
So 6
Finish it
legs.
off.
It's Detroit Lions money line, CeeDee Lamb 70, JMO 25, Gibbs 60 all purpose, D-Mont 50, D-Mont touchdown plus 684. Don't know how it loses.
You get a boost, dude. Hey,
Hey, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna get you to plus
go
800.
get yourself a boost. Go get yourself a boost. Now, legacy player of the day.
Here we go. Who is it?
Legacy player of
Much
the day.
anticipated. Who is it?
And you know what? We'll parlay these two props together so
Oh,
we get
wow.
some good money out of it. David Montgomery.
Oh, Dave.
David, cheers to David Montgomery, to Real American Beer and all that. David Montgomery, Klotzy, this man's going to have a day today. He's going to run the ball 15, 20 times. He's going to have 100 all-purpose yards. He's going to have a touchdown. Go take it. His line is set at 58.5. Parlay it with the touchdown and go get yourself and make yourself. I'm not going to say free. I'm not Jeff Iafrate. I don't want to get sued. I do not want to get sued.
Yeah.
I would prefer not to get into the court of law. But give me over 58.5, parlay that with
I
the
like
D-Mont touchdown, and we'll make some money together. And we're gonna go 4-1 on the legacy players. I think that's a safe bet today.
There's no doubt that David Montgomery falls in the end zone. And I know Gentry, you spoke on it, most likely on that first drive, too. So a little
Yeah.
sprinkle on a David Montgomery first drive touchdown, obviously not in a parlay.
You can walk away a happy man.
Yeah,
Am I
think it's
allowed
like
to-
plus 550 right now?
Am I allowed to disclose Gentry's parlay? Can I give that? Can I say what happened?
I think he.
Gentry, can I tell the story before we? Did you say yeah?
Yeah, he said sure.
This man,
Yeah,
I
listen to
come
this. This is
over to where we
insane.
do the show at undisclosed location. Great bar here we're at. It's an undisclosed bar. No one will know where this bar is. I come here though. Our man Michael Gentry
This guy's.
has a $2.50 parlay in for the 1 o'clock games for first touchdown scores. Derrick Henry, bang. Who was it?
AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, bang.
Jaden
Tank
Reed.
Dell, bang.
Jaden Reed.
Was it Jaden Reed?
Yeah.
Jaden Reed, bang. Last like David Montgomery. Listen, I come in, 3 of the guys, as I walk in, 3 of the guys already hit the parlay, already hit it. And all he needs is AJ Brown. We turn it on real quick. We're like, we have to get the game on. For context, and this is, guys, $2.50 to win $36,000.
Jesus.
36,000. I did not know he had the DMont parlay. We're sitting there watching it. I thought all he needed was AJ Brown, and AJ Brown scores a touchdown. And I just went
immediately
berserk. I was like, there's no way this man just went from $2 to 36,000. Unc comes around the corner to like come celebrate with me out here and slips and falls on the carpet and just
himself.
Bangs his knee up and like injures his knee, and he's on the ground rolling in circles. And all he needed was the DMont first touchdown.
Yeah, it's smart though.
Did cashed out for $4,000. $2 to 4,000 is an unbelievable thing.
And people might be like, why not wait, dude? If you're someone that has an option to cash out for
$4,000,
$2 to $4,000, you just take the $4,000 and go.
Yeah,
I would
take the
because imagine
$4,000.
if like DMont gets down at the 1, then they play action of Brock, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you know what happened last week?
Or the
2 weeks
Cowboys
ago?
get the ball first and score.
Yeah,
Let me
You're
double
done.
check this real quick, because I think what happened 2 weeks ago.
So shout out to Mike, big win for him.
Let me find this real quick. DMont on the first possession. I could be wrong. Let me make sure I'm right here. I think DMont got all the way down to the end
And then
zone,
Jameer.
and I think Gibbs came in and got the touchdown. The first touchdown of the game. DMont's running the ball all the way. And then, DMont got the first touchdown last game.
Yeah, but you just have to.
Way off. Maybe we should have kept it on.
But this is why you should tune into the watch party in about
Exactly
15
why.
minutes, because we'll be reacting live to the game, giving our thoughts, reactions, hanging out with you guys, and as well as hoping we win some money on these bets.
Oh, hold
And
on.
you guys,
Don't leave yet.
you guys can join and hopefully win some money with us.
Drop a like on the stream. while
Yes,
you're here
and
as well.
please do that as well. What do you got, Boone? What's up?
Hold on. I'm going to make it to where the people just direct some.
I love
shit.
that. You know what? I love that, Boone. I do. It'll pop up for you guys to just transition right to the watch party. We'll be live drinking some real American beer. We got some ZA as well. I thought it'd be very it's very poetic, given that an Italian today is going to score a touchdown. We got some ZA.
Florida.
Yep, we'll see. I got a surprise celebration if he scores. Very
Alex Anzalone possibly too.
Yeah, if he
You
gets.
want to claim Jack Campbell, but not Alex
Yeah,
Anzalone. It's fucked up.
yeah.
It's fucked up,
I
man.
should know better. It's like picking the Jags to win, huh? When Caleb, I've been hyping him up.
Those Colts are beating the
Messed
Titans
up.
right now.
All
All
right.
right, we'll catch you guys in about 15 minutes. We'll go live. 10, 15
4:20
minutes.
we'll be alive.
Yes. We'll catch you guys. Appreciate it so much. If you're not subscribed, subscribe, and don't forget to like the stream.
DMont, baby, all
Catch you in a little
all
bit.
day.
See ya.